I told you guys I would have 2 videos this week, and I didn't lie. I'm actually really proud of myself for filming today because I'm doing something in like 6 hours, and so clearly I don't have enough time to be filming. But anyways, hey y'all, I'm back, and I have some creepy stories. This is employees are revealing the ghost encounters they've had while working at a haunted hotel, and it's terrifying. There's like 20-something stories. My brother worked in house cleaning at a historic inn. He saw shapes dart out of the corner of his eye when he looked in mirrors. The beds would untuck themselves after he had made crisp corners. Some days he heard footsteps up behind him on the narrow stairs, and his hair stood on end. His vacuum would constantly be unplugged while using it, even when the cord was completely slack. And toilets frequently flush themselves. When he brought all of this up to his manager, she said, "Oh, don't mind that. It's happened since I can remember." Number 2. I used to live and work at the Stanley Hotel, where Stephen King was inspired to write The Shining. I was a ghost and history tour guide for the summer and have many stories of strange experiences. Once, my coworker and I were sitting in her room drinking when someone came angrily stomping up the stairs and down the hallway. We thought we were busted. Then, the person got to her door, turned the knob, and opened it. But there was no one there. Another time, I was giving a tour and talking about the ghost of a creepy old brothel owner who haunted the place. Suddenly, someone tugged my hair. No one was behind me. People on the tour thought I was faking it, but I absolutely wasn't. No, I would quit that second. Another time, I was sitting in our dorm and a picture in the hallway fell off the wall and shattered. It didn't seem weird until I saw that it was laying on the ground face up, almost as if someone took it off the wall and slammed it on the ground. People have gotten pictures with figures in them, smelled Mrs. Stanley's perfume as she walked past, witnessed displaced couches, and so on. Everything was pretty lighthearted and not too freaky. No, I don't care, anything could happen and I'm out of there. I'm out of that place. Everything is scary to me. But number 3, I worked as a housekeeper at a haunted hotel for about a year. There are many stories I could tell, but there was this one room that I still have nightmares about to this day. There was a rumor that when the manor house was being converted, the builders found a skeleton in the fireplace of the largest room. I never felt right in that room. I even started having nightmares about it where I was being chased down the long corridor in the room. I never saw what was chasing me, but I remember feeling filled with terror. I had that dream every night for months. Since quitting that job, my mental health improved, and the dream became much less frequent. But I still get it from time to time when things are bad. It continues to haunt me. Oh, also, sorry if I look so fucking orange. I tanned and I haven't washed it off yet. Sorry. In the early 90s, I worked as a sous chef at the Hotel Colorado. The employees there told me all of the juicy ghost stories, forbidden rooms, labyrinths, basements, hauntings, and so on. I never really paid it any mind until an encounter that creeped me out so much that I quit. It was slated to be a busy weekend as we had multiple functions that weekend, including our famous Sunday brunch in the Colorado room. The head chef asked me to come in super early to get a head start on prep. I arrived around 4:30 in the morning. I immediately went into crunch mode since I had a mountain of things to get done. I was deep in work mode with my back to the dining room when weird sounds started to penetrate my veil of concentration. Kids were playing in the dining room. Not my problem, so I kept my stride. After a few moments, a bad feeling washed over me. What the hell were kids doing playing in the Colorado room at 4:30 in the morning? I just don't even know how you would keep working. A cold, icy feeling shot up my spine, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw the door to the Colorado room swing open just a bit. I began to hear the unmistakable sound of rubber balls bouncing into the kitchen. I turned and saw a red rubber kickball, clear as day, bound into the galley with the far-off sound of children's laughter floating through the Colorado room. I just froze. I've never been that freaked out in my entire life. My breath came in ragged gasps, and I stood rooted to that spot. I must have stood stock still for a minute. Then the rear doors opened, and I heard the sound of familiar voices. My reinforcements were there. I'd never been more relieved to hear other people's voices than at that moment. One of the chefs helping me that morning made her way to the main line and immediately stopped in her tracks when she saw me and said, "You look like you just saw a ghost." I quickly told her what happened. We searched the galley for the ball and turned on all the lights, but nothing. No ball and no children. I put my 2 weeks notice in the following day. The manager of the hotel asked me to sit down with him a few days later. He had heard my tale and wanted to chat me up about it. I thought I had heard all of the tales associated with the alleged haunting of the Hotel Colorado, but there was one I hadn't yet. Not long after the hotel opened, a little girl accidentally chased her red ball off a 5th floor balcony and died. The manager said her ghost was seen frequently on the 5th floor in a Victorian dress and has even reportedly played catch with some of the guests' children. Her red ball was famous among workers of the hotel in previous generations, and its ghostly appearance frequented the banquet rooms, and yes, the kitchens too. I would have quit too. No, I would have never gone back to even talk to them about what happened. I would try to erase it from my mind. I stayed a night on the Queen Mary ship in Long Beach, California with my family. I'm convinced that the ship is haunted. We were all walking in one of the long hallways where all the rooms are, which is super creepy in the first place, and my brother was walking in the back with my mom. He looked down one of the side hallways and turned back to my mom looking super creeped out. My mom said he told her he saw a guy in the back of the side hallway, but he could see right through him. None of us wanted to sleep there, though we had to. Okay, that one was kind of short, so this is number 6. I was setting up the audio-visual tech at the Drake Hotel in the Gold Coast Ballroom. There's a famous ghost story of a woman who jumped out the window of the ballroom and died after catching her husband cheating. I was alone that night setting up speakers and monitors, and they kept getting unplugged from the wall. I thought nothing of it at first, but taped them onto the wall so they wouldn't come undone anymore. Right as I was about to finish setting up my last monitor, all 6 of them came undone from the walls. I've never been so frightened in my life. I immediately bolted out of the room, eventually came back and did the show, made sure I struck everything as quick as I could before banquets finished so I wouldn't be alone, and immediately went home. I've worked at the property since it happened to me 4 years ago, but I've been sent in with a partner and all has been good. I keep saying I would never go back to that place ever again, but I had paranormal experiences in my childhood home, and I always went back, and I did it to myself because I played with the Ouija board, and I continued playing with the Ouija board even though weird shit happened. So maybe I would go back, but if I had a buddy. I had a few rooms on my floor that I was uncomfortable with being alone in while working. We weren't allowed to turn on the TVs as we cleaned, but I didn't care. In those rooms, the TV absolutely had to be on, and on Comedy Central to keep me entertained. I figured out early on while working my floor which rooms were different. Flickering lights, cold spots, and that feeling you get when someone is standing right behind you, but actually, the creepiest one is the feeling of somebody's face being right in front of yours. I hate that. I never want to think about that ever again. We're moving on. I worked at a local motel that, before it was demolished, was known by locals to be haunted. Most people didn't even blink an eye at some of the happenings around. One time, I was in the middle of folding towels in the laundry room when I saw a woman pass through toward the small office in the laundry room. It wasn't unusual for people to come by to ask for extra towels and stuff, so I assumed it was a guest who needed something. I went into the office and nobody was there. It was a small room with only one door in and out of the office. I even checked under the desk, but it was completely empty. Another unexplained thing, someone was killed in one of the rooms, and there was one spot in that room that, no matter what season it was, would be so much colder than the rest of the room, you could truly feel the temperature in that one particular spot drop. I used to work at a casino that was built in the late 1800s, so it was just accepted that it was haunted. One afternoon, a guy I worked with had to be sedated by a paramedic after getting so spooked by something. He was cleaning one of the restaurants in preparation for service that night and was alone. He said he saw a black shape with no real defined edge drift across the kitchen and through the wall into the adjoining room. It made no sound, but he'd been looking right at it. He wouldn't work in the kitchen alone after that. I would never work there again. I don't know how some of you don't quit. I just don't get that. I mean, I guess if you're with someone, because, okay, here's my thing too, is if you see something alone, people can just call you crazy. But if you see it with a buddy, there's 2 witnesses, they can't call you crazy. My hotel is supposed to be haunted, and weird things have absolutely happened. Once, there was a call to the front desk from the locked up, pitch black telephone booth in the hotel bar. It only happened once, so I don't think it was a short. I worked housekeeping in a chain hotel. There was one room at the end of the hall where the faucet would turn on full blast by itself while anyone was working in there. I'd be cleaning the room and suddenly hear water gurgling down the drain. Another time, I was working on the tub and heard it turn on behind me. Whoever or whatever it was would also turn on the TV. I was warned on my first day that things would happen in that room, and then, while making a bed, I'd suddenly hear muffled voices and see the TV was on. Whatever part of the room my back was to, it felt like someone was there. I got the feeling that they didn't want to be in the way, but they didn't want to be alone. That's really sad, actually. None of the staff felt threatened. We all felt that the entity was lonely and trying to reach out. The hotel has since been bought by a college and was turned into dorms. I hope having people staying in the room more steadily will be a good thing for whoever the spirit was. Maybe they felt less lonely with students actively living there than a revolving door of hotel guests. Oh my gosh, they have a buddy now. They have their own literally a roommate, a ghosty roommate. I was a server at a restaurant that used to be a hotel. My second day of training, I saw a little girl pop her head out of a cupboard below the bar and look around. I was about to tell her to get out, but when I checked, there was no one there. Another time, I walked into the kitchen and two of my friends were standing in front of a pile of shattered glass, jaws dropped and faces pale. Dropping a glass at a restaurant happens daily. No one reacts like that. I asked what was wrong and they sort of babbled together that the glass threw itself off the counter. They watched it happen. Okay, number 13. I was working late, just past midnight, when I went to use the bathroom in the lobby. It was a pretty standard large men's bathroom with urinals and sit-down stalls. I was the only one in there and I went to use one of the urinals. As I was peeing, I heard a rapid knocking sound coming from behind me. I looked and saw the door for the handicap stall vibrating, which was what was making the knocking sound. It was like someone locked the door and was shaking it. Figured it was a coworker playing a prank, so I laughed and said, "Very funny." It immediately stopped. I walked over, knocked, and the door swung open. No one was inside. I ran the hell out. There was no way the door could have made that noise without being locked. I still use that particular bathroom, but never late at night. How are you not, traumatized? I got into an elevator lift from the top floor to head down. The lift stopped at the 4th floor, the door opened, and I saw people outside standing still who made no attempt to come in despite me being alone inside, and there was room for them. As the lift door started to automatically close, I heard someone outside say, "Why is the lift so full of people? Oh my God. Shut the fuck up." No, that's, okay, actually that might be the worst one. That actually might be the fucking worst one. I want to move on from that. I don't want to think about that anymore. My friend's grandfather owned a hotel at some point. The building was hundreds of years old and dated back to the English Civil War. He told us that one time he was cleaning up in the dining room. Suddenly, 3 men in armor charged at him with weapons, but they just ran through him. He was physically ill afterward, having come into contact with these ghosts. He later called a medium to come check the place out, and she was freaked out by the supposed presence in the hotel. Later, they learned that there had been a murder committed by 3 soldiers in the building during the war. It was the 1990s, and it was a dark and stormy night. I was working alone and entered the pool area to replace the dirty pool towels with clean ones 2 hours after the pool closed. It was a huge indoor pool accessed by a heavy metal fire door near the front desk. The pool closed at 10 p.m., and my shift started at 11 p.m. Headed for the closet where the towels were stored. As I was stacking the towels, I suddenly heard a very loud splash, like someone just cannonballed into the pool. I immediately turned because the pool was already closed. No one was there. No kids, no adults, not even a mouse. I thought I'd imagined it, but noticed the water in the pool was still moving, and the pool deck at the deep end was wet. The hair on the back of my neck stood straight up. I ran, not walked, the hell out of the pool area and waited for the newspaper delivery guy to show up to finish cleaning. From that night on, I never went into the pool area until the newspaper guy arrived and kept me company as I put away clean towels. A ghost who likes to swim? Like, why? Creepy stuff happens at my hotel a lot. I saw the key-locked back door open on its own one time just before it closed. I heard knocking on that same door when no one was there, and I could tell because it's a glass door. Almost every day, it's like someone is trying to open the filing cabinet that has our important documents but can't because it's locked. No one is ever there when I check, but it always looks like someone is trying to pull it open. A few times, the radios have gone off with no one around, and the last time it happened, it sounded like someone quietly groaned into it. All the radios were there, so no one had anything to do with that. Stuff has only been getting worse and more spooky lately. Okay, we have a couple more. I worked at a church that has since been repurposed into a hotel and bar. It's in one of the oldest towns in Australia, so the church has been around since colonization. Most staff experience the feeling of being watched, and loads of unexplained things happened. Plates flew off the bench in the middle of the church service, doors would inexplicably slam, the TV would change channels by itself, the radio would turn on to complete static, and we would constantly hear voices. We named the ghost Cecil. I worked for a hotel for almost a year. In one of the laundry rooms, you could hear a typewriter clicking and dinging. I called that ghost Cheryl. Then, while cleaning the pool at night, it was common to see a shadow walk by and constantly feel like someone was watching you. I hated cleaning the pool. Okay, well that's like 2 pool ghosts. The laundry wasn't bad because at least Cheryl was busy working. Poor Cheryl, spending her afterlife working though. No, like, what is the bitch typing about? Okay, and this is the last one. Several years ago, my college roommate worked as the night manager for a newly built hotel. We were close and I would often bring coffee around 1 a.m. and chat for a while. One night, she was at the front desk looking completely perplexed when I showed up. She said she had just checked in a doppelganger of our other roommate down to the same height, hairstyle, eye color, and southern accent. She tried to show the new guest a picture of our friend but was rebuffed several times. We both chalked it up to a coincidence because our friend was out of town with their parents. I decided to head home shortly after 2 a.m. Got home around 2:30, pulled into our garage and checked my phone. There was a series of texts from my friend to our other roommate and me at 2:17. Stop, not funny, you guys suck, what the hell? I called my friend immediately. She was hysterical. She said she saw our roommate and me in the same clothes I was wearing earlier standing at the end of the main hallway staring at her. She thought it was a joke and kept calling out, but that we weren't responding. Eventually, the front desk phone rang, and in the time it took to answer it, we had both disappeared. I calmed my friend down over the phone, and the next morning we talked and tried to rationalize what she saw. The guest what looked like our friend had come back to the front desk later that morning to inquire about some services, but only looked vaguely similar. What scares me to this day that I never told my friend is that when I got into our house, the kitchen clock was stuck at 2:17. Directly next to it sat a photo of my other roommate and me smiling that I had only developed that afternoon. Nothing weird ever happened at the hotel again, but it still makes me uneasy to this day. No, I fucking hate that. That's so weird. Like, how is that possible? And why is the ghost printing photos? What is happening? Okay, that's all I have for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. I like staying at places that are like supposedly haunted, but I've like never actually experienced really much. Like, I've had like weird things that happen, but I like can't like be like, oh yeah, it was definitely paranormal. Like, it could maybe be explained. I like staying at those places because I can leave and never go back if something were to happen, but like working there and like having to experience it every night, no. But if you have any creepy stories from haunted hotels, I will have my subreddit linked down below. I'm gonna go. I have something cool to share with you guys, but I'm gonna put it in my little rambly portion. I love you. I will see you in the next one. Bye. You guys, I am so excited because I'm going to hang out with and feed capybaras today. I am the capybara queen. There's gonna be other animals too. It's like this little sanctuary in Phoenix. It's not like a zoo, it's a sanctuary, but it's mostly reptiles, but they have capybaras and you can like pay to feed them. It's kind of expensive because you have to do a private tour in order to like hang out with them. But I cannot wait. I have like a couple hours until I need to get ready, and then a couple more hours until I actually get to go because I am like notorious for getting ready early. Does that make sense? Notorious? I don't know. I always get ready way too early, but I can't wait. I'm so excited. And I woke up this morning, I was like, I need to film my video today because I didn't film yesterday because I was like sleeping all day. And so I was like, I need to film my video today, but I have to go to the capybaras. So do I even have time? I have so much time. It is 9 a.m. I'm not going till like 2. I'm just stupid. I'm stupid and dumb. Just kidding. You guys get so mad at me when I say that. I'm not being serious, only a little. Do you want to see the shirt I'm wearing? You do. This is the shirt I'm wearing to hang out with the capybaras, the capybara commander. I literally got that on Amazon and it came in like 2 days. So, I mean, if you like it, just look up capybara t-shirt. That's what I did. But okay, I'm gonna go because I have nothing else to tell you. Sorry. I love you so much. See ya.